Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor and financial coordinator. And we have a phenomenal show for you tonight. So, hey, grab a pen and paper, tell a friend, like this post, share it, and we'll be getting started in just a moment. Good evening once again. I am Majida Bay, your financial coordinator, and I help parents and professionals get on the right financial track and become someone both their parents and children can be proud of. My show for tonight, unfortunately, my partner could not be with us tonight, Mr. John Epting. He is actually with a good friend of his and a gentleman that I know as well, who is having some health challenges. So he's there with his family, supporting him. So let's keep them in prayer. And just want to say that we are thinking about you, Joey, and we hope that you have a full recovery and come back even stronger than before. So tonight's show, we are continuing with our ABCs of Wealth series. This is week 20. Y'all have been hanging with us. For those that have been here since the beginning, this is week 20 of our series, and we are talking about T's, right? Taxes, trust, and temptations, right? Temptations. Yes. We're going to tie that into wealth as well. So this week, I wanted to touch on taxes, right? That's something that is, it can impact your wealth. It's something that we definitely have to be aware of, that we want to be cognizant of, because it's not just what you do in terms of building wealth, it's what you prevent from getting done as well. So oftentimes when we're thinking about building wealth, you're like, all right, if I put my money in the right places, or, I earn a certain rate of return, and there's really a formula for wealth, right? In order to build wealth, there's 5 ingredients, so to speak. And so this is what we call the wealth formula, right? You have to start with an income, right? There's nothing to start with. There's nothing to build wealth with. So you got to start with an income, and then you add time, right? It takes time to build wealth. Yes, you can get rich quick, right? But you're not going to get wealthy quick, right? It doesn't work that way. You have to allow time to pass. And then you need to look at what interest you're earning, right? Plus or minus the interest that you're earning, minus inflation, right? Which we are definitely experiencing quite a bit of right now. And then minus taxes equals wealth. So that's the wealth formula. So if you want to build wealth, you have to be aware of those 5 different ingredients. And then you have to understand how each of those ingredients are impacting you where you are right now, right? So if you don't have a lot of income coming in, doesn't matter how much you make, but really about how much you get to keep. So if you are at least keeping some of what you make, that allows you to put some money to work for you. But if you're living beyond your means and you're spending more than you're making, you're actually going to put yourself into the poverty formula. And that's what we don't want for you. So you want to start off with a good income, give it some time, look at your rate of return, right? You might have a 401k or CD or a savings account, but do you know how much interest you're actually earning? All right, there's a way to determine how much or how quickly your money will double using a simple formula called the rule of 72. And so wherever your money is earning interest, whether it's in a mutual fund, money market, CD, savings account, 401k, wherever your money is earning interest, you want to be aware of how much interest is earning. And then you can apply the rule of 72 to figure out how quickly your money will double based on that formula. So we're not going to go into that. We actually talked about that several weeks ago, but you need to understand interest, right? And then you got to outpace inflation and minimize taxation, right? So we may not be able to control taxes, but we can control how taxes impact our wealth, right? We can control how much we pay in taxes based on where we put our money, as well as what we invest our money in, and the things that we do to leverage the tax code. In this description, you'll see that, the tax code was really written for business owners. And so they found ways, not loopholes, right? They found ways to leverage the tax code to benefit from paying less in taxes. I know that, here in the state of Virginia, by actually owning a business, you can actually reduce or almost eliminate your state taxes based on the number of people that you employ. And so simply by creating opportunities, creating jobs for other people, you're creating more taxpayers, so they give you a break on taxes. Make sense? And so in building wealth, you want to watch out for taxes, right? That's really important. But along with taxes, right? So if you earn a W-2 income and you don't have another business outside of that, you're paying a lot in taxes, right? They take their taxes off the top. And so as business owners, you actually get to pay taxes on your net profits, meaning the money that you bring in, the revenue that you bring in, you deduct or subtract all of your expenses from the revenue that you bring in. And then what's left over is essentially what you pay taxes on. However, as an employee, whatever your salary is, whatever your hourly wage is, you pay taxes before you get your check. Isn't that right? Right? Before you even see your check, they've taken the taxes out. And so just simply having a business, whether it's a side hustle or, self-employed work that you do, whatever it may be, you can actually reduce your tax liability. Even if you also have a W-2 income, you can actually reduce your tax liability simply by having a business, right? Where you're legitimately working to make money. Yes. So if you are legitimately looking to earn revenue, make a profit, then the expenses associated with building that business, you can actually write off or deduct from your revenue and thus reduce your tax liability. So my first few years in business, that was actually one of the greatest benefits. I made a decent salary on my W-2 job. However, by simply having businesses on the side that I could generate additional income from, there were expenses associated with it that I was able to use to reduce my tax liability. And so I could reduce my withholdings on my job so that I got more money in my paycheck in lieu of waiting till the end of the year and, getting a huge refund. But there's a lot of different ways, and there are people much more qualified than me, CPAs, tax professionals, who can help you minimize your taxes legally, right? And that's important in building wealth, not just in your income and, in your business, but also in the vehicles or the places that you put your money. It's important to know how those things are taxed, right? Like your 401k, are you going to pay taxes in the future, or would you rather pay taxes up front? Things like Roth IRAs and college savings plans, they actually allow you to pay taxes on the money initially, right? Like the money that you get in your paycheck. But then when you put it into a Roth IRA or you put it into a 529 plan, you actually don't have to pay taxes on the gains. So those are ways that you can minimize taxation for the future. There's some other ways to do that as well. There's some life insurance vehicles as well. So my children are eating their dinner at the moment. So, all right, in addition to taxes, in terms of building your wealth, what are your temptations, right? These are sometimes the things that we don't really think about, right? It's easy to look at, right, the bills that come in or the tax bill that's due. But it's the spending that we don't count, right? Those temptations, those things that we do unconsciously that can eat away and erode our wealth. And yes, I'm a financial coordinator. However, I have had challenges in this area, and still to this day, I do have some challenges in that area as well. It's just watching all the little spending, right? When you can swipe your card or, pick up something real quick, you don't realize how much that adds up. And I'm not one of those people that like pinches pennies, if you will, but it is something that I am aware of, that it's important for me to watch, that unconscious spending, right? I have my bills account, so I got this from the Budgetnista, right? I have an account where all the money gets deposited, and then I transfer money for bills into a separate account. And so oftentimes that deposit account, whatever's in there, I give myself the liberty to use at my leisure. And it's important to still manage that money well, right? So being aware of those temptations, and something that I learned from a coach of mine is that, if you have systems in place to help you manage those temptations or challenges, or the things that can, those emotions, those feelings that can impact your decision making. If you have a system in place to help manage that, then that will help you to reduce the impact to your wealth. Because you may not recognize it right away, right? You may not think that it doesn't count, but time will tell, right? Time will actually tell, because it's a compound effect, right? The decisions that we make early on, over time, they definitely will catch up with us, right? They're going to compound, and you might look up and you're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, and you're wondering, well, how did I get here? It was all those little decisions over time, those small temptations, those little things that over time didn't add up. They multiplied and put you in a situation to where now you're wondering how I got here. And don't worry, wherever you are, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to turn things around. It really just comes down to making a decision, right? You make a decision to change it all, right? To do something different, to set a different sail, as Jim Rohn likes to say. And so it's just important to be aware of it, right? So temptations, right? Be aware of it. Like, self-awareness is so important when it comes to building wealth. You have to be aware of your habits, your weaknesses, right? Some of the things that can pull you away from your plan, right? You may have a goal to build wealth, or to leave a legacy, and to do all these great things. However, if you are not aware of the things that you're challenged by, the things that you do unconsciously, right? If you're not aware of those blind spots in your plan, then those are the things that can definitely have an impact on you building wealth. So it's important to having a coach, right? I mentioned that I have a coach that's helping me with navigating and steering the ship, if you will. So having a coach is critical to helping you to see those blind spots, or having a good friend who's willing to just be honest with you and tell you things that you may not want to hear, but they love you enough not to leave you the way you are, as John likes to say, right? Your family, your friends may love you the way you are, but a leader or a mentor loves you enough not to leave you the way you are, because we can all get better. We can all improve. And if we really want to build wealth, we truly want to build wealth, it requires a different mindset. We have to have different thinking in order to build wealth, right? I was going to have thinking as one of our terms for this week. And even time, right? Time is definitely an asset, or aspect of building wealth. Is so important in that process. So we've talked about taxes. We've talked about temptations. Now let's talk about trust on a little lighter note. The things that we say we want to do, it's important for us to have a tangible way to do it. When you think about building wealth, sometimes we think, okay, I'm just going to acquire a bunch of stuff, right? I'm going to buy a bunch of property. I'm going to save a bunch of money. I'm going to invest in the stocks, and that's going to allow me to build wealth. Well, unfortunately, if you don't have a plan in, let's say, the form of a trust, all of the work that you did could be for naught, right? If your family is forced to sell properties in order to pay the estate tax on your assets, on your estate, right? So the accumulation of everything that you have, right? Property, accounts, personal property, we say like real estate, all of those things, the culmination of all of those things are considered your estate. And so depending on what state you live in, there could be an estate tax. And I know that there are talks right now in the government to reducing the federal tax from 11 million to 5 million as far as being the amount that they tax. If you have more than $5 million in assets, you would be assessed that quote unquote death tax. Well, currently it's at over 11 million. So how will that impact your wealth? Do you have a strategy in place? Do you have a trust in place to help protect your wealth? And so a trust is, the way that I understand it, and I'm not an estate attorney, right? There are people much more qualified than I to talk about trust. But trust is basically a set of instructions that you can leave behind, and it's left to a trustee, right? A person that you designate, that you trust to carry out your wishes, right? That person is given the instructions. And the way that my estate planning attorney explained it to me, it's like having a safe deposit box, right? And while I'm still living, I hold the key. And when I passed away, that key gets passed on to someone else, right? That key gets passed on to the person I designate as a trustee. And you can actually have as many trustees, right? You can have a primary, a secondary, a tertiary, so on and so forth. You can designate as many people as you decide to be the trustees, right? In the event that the primary doesn't want the responsibility or, is no longer around. And so you can pass that key on, which are those instructions, to that trustee, so that the wealth that you acquired while you were living actually gets transferred to the next generation. What would it mean, right, if you did all this work to leave things behind, but didn't leave instructions behind? What would end up happening is that the state, the government, has a process by which they will distribute your assets, right? They have instructions, right, through the legal system that will distribute your assets for you. And it's a very costly process. And so you will end up losing more of your wealth having to go through that probate process simply because you did not have a trust. You did not have a set of instructions left behind to transfer the wealth. And so make sure that you have a strategy, you have a plan in terms of building your wealth, right? You want to, to recap, you want to minimize your taxes, you want to mitigate your temptations, and then you want to ensure that you manage your trust, right? You have something in place. And there are people, right? There are professionals that can actually help us in all three areas, right? With taxes, there are CPAs who actually can help you with tax planning in your business or even in your personal finances in order to minimize your taxes. So work with a tax professional. The way I like to see it, there are people who are skilled, who are qualified, who are educated in these various areas. And so leverage their expertise and their knowledge to put you in a better position so that you don't have to figure it out on your own. You get to leverage their 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years of experience in their particular industry in order to help you manage your wealth. So talk to a tax professional, talk to a CPA, and have them help you plan how you can minimize your taxes and build your wealth. And then when it comes to our temptations, hey, there are counselors and therapists for that, right? Talk to somebody, right? If you feel like you keep ending up in the same situation, right, or you're on that hamster wheel and you feel like you keep going in circles, or you're in that rat race and you don't know how to get out, hey, you might just need somebody to help you unclog and get the thoughts out of your head, or help you get on track so that you can have better clarity about what's stopping you or what's holding you up. So talk to a professional, right? There are, like I said, counselors, therapists, individuals who are willing to listen and help you, kind of get those ideas, get those thoughts out, so that your temptations don't trap you and prevent you from building wealth. So lean on a professional for that. And then, of course, when it comes to trust, there are estate planning attorneys, individuals who are licensed and have expertise and know the law in order to help you transfer your wealth to the next generation, right? Those trusts are put in place to, like I said, lead those set of instructions. And so I had the fortune to be connected with an estate planning attorney. And it was one of the greatest feelings to be able to put that plan in place, leave those instructions, and it'll be changed over time, right? As I make changes to my own financial position, I need to add businesses or, add properties and things like that. But it's so well worth it to have that in place so that I don't have to worry about what's going to happen to my children if something were to happen to me. What's going to happen to my home? Will my children have a place to stay? Will my family be able to take care of them? Like, we have instructions, we have things in place to help protect our family and protect our wealth. And so when it comes to building wealth, it's not just about saving and investing. It's about also protecting what you're building. And you protect it through having a plan, working with professionals. And as always, right, if you need some help in the area of planning for your wealth, definitely feel free to reach out to myself. And, John's not with us tonight, but you could certainly reach out to him. Phenomenal, right? He has over 20 years of experience in the industry. I'm just past 10 years in this industry, and we help you with a plan, right? Like I said, I'm your financial coordinator. I'm going to point you in the right direction and help you with the strategies that are needed to help you move closer to where it is you want to be, right? Sometimes we just need the accountability. We need somebody to help us stay on track. And so you can reach out to us, schedule a complimentary consultation, and we'll sit down and look at where you are, where it is you want to be, and help you map out a strategy to get there. So definitely feel free to do that. Our links are there at the bottom, calendly.com/JC Epting, or you can reach out to me at calendly.com/prosperitypassengers/financial consultation. So I hope that you got some value out of the information that was shared tonight. We're going to keep it brief. Like I said, I'm here by myself tonight. So I just wanted to touch on a few points. And, when John gets back next week, we'll, maybe touch a little bit on this as well. And we'll continue our series, of course, through the end of this year. We've got 6 more weeks to go. UVWXYZ. We're going to figure it out. All right. We're going to get through the end. We're going to finish strong. We definitely appreciate you guys for rocking with us. And hopefully you've been applying some of the information that you've heard, or you'll go back and read this or listen to this at a later time so that you can help to build those muscles when it comes to building your wealth. So understand, it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, but with accountability, with coaching, with mentorship, you can definitely get there. And we are certainly here to help. So appreciate you guys rocking with us, and we hope to see you guys next week as we continue our series. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.